It was really bad, you guys. Oh, I don't even want to tell this story. Why am I telling this story? Hey guys, so before you get into this video, I want to have a disclaimer here. I am a childhood victim of trauma, so I do talk a lot about that, and I do end up crying a little bit towards the end. I get a little bit emotional. I'm sorry about that. For those of you who feel like you don't understand what a trauma survivor goes through, I really recommend you watching Stephanie So's new series. It's only 2 videos. They're kind of long, but if you're into watching longer, very interesting videos, I would definitely recommend watching these 2 videos. These videos that Stephanie So made, by the way, they are not for the faint of heart type people. It's hard to watch. But it's about a man who was essayed as a child. He was assaulted as a child, and he grew up and he was not okay. And then he ended up being the man who assaulted him when he became an adult. It's very interesting, and he really explains very well what trauma survivors go through. So again, I really recommend watching them. I'm going to put them right here, and I'm going to link them in the comments below because I think it is so poignant to understand the point of view of victims of childhood trauma. This guy that she interviews really just explains it well, the thought processes you go through as an adult, as you grow up, after things happen to you as a kid, and how hard it is just to adjust to life. It's very interesting to look at the difference between men and women. Men who experience childhood trauma, they may grow up to be extremely violent, and it's rooted in their childhood trauma, whereas for women, they are maybe just very emotional or very, very sensitive. I don't know. I think I have a lot wrong with me, but emotional and sensitive is a good way to explain it, other than like getting into deeper detail. Mental problems are a staple that come from childhood trauma. I will just say that. So yeah, I just wanted to preface this video with that. It gets kind of serious, but it's also really interesting. I also get very worked up. You can tell how like much this affected me at the time. I'm still processing and getting through it. But yeah, I hope you guys like it. Subscribe for more. That would be great and really help me out. I will try to continue, and the more subscribers I get, the more motivation that I have for this. So thank you for watching. Hello. So I was gonna tell you guys a like funny story today, but it turned out to be serious. So sorry. This story is gonna be about how I lost my job recently. It feels really weird to make YouTube videos now because it feels like nobody's watching, but in the back of my mind, it's still a huge dream of mine to have a channel, so I thought I'd still keep talking about things. The reason I haven't been posting for the last like year is because I started college. I am doing so well in college, you guys. I have a 4.0. I know, kind of crazy. I've been doing it. I finished in November. I don't remember what month I started, not last year, but I'm only getting an associate's degree, so it's only like a year long. But yeah, I'm going for criminal justice. Honey boo boo, why do you look so sad in the background? Why are you looking so sad in the background? Pep up your step. Pep up your step. Thank you. So, honestly, I have not been doing very well other than in college. I have a 4.0, so that shows that I'm doing well in college, but like otherwise, not doing so hot mentally. I had gotten a new job. If you watch my videos in the past, I always have gotten a new job. Like, jobs have been a fucking hard thing for me to keep stable in my life, and I think it's definitely because of my mental health. And how I grew up. Mainly, I mean, how I grew up and my mental health are one and the same. Like, they both are directly linked to each other, and so me growing up badly basically led to me having a horrible mental state in my adult life, and it's really weird to try to adjust to anything being consistent. My brain just like always thinks there's a threat, and it's really, I always want to say it's really interesting when I want to be less negative, but it's getting less and less interesting the more I struggle. But anyway, something happened at my last job. Okay, so I'll start from the beginning, and then I'll get into the story time that I'm going to tell you guys. But a good recap and update of how I've been. You guys will see I was doing like story time videos for a little bit there, and like I was wearing cute little outfits, and I was really happy, and I had just gotten my hair done. I had just left a job willingly because it was horrible. My fridge just turned off, sorry. But I was working a manufacturing job. Girlies, if you are thinking about doing manufacturing, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't ever do it. Just never do it. Unfortunately, I was forced into manufacturing work by my family when I was 18 because we had just had a house fire and they needed money to be coming home. And of course, my mom wasn't willing to work, so I'm the one who had to work. My dad has not been in the picture, so he kind of is in the picture, but not, especially during this time, he wasn't really in the picture. So now that I'm older, he helps me out a little more, but it's really strange to think about what was happening with my dad at this time because I don't remember him talking to me very much. So yeah, horrible time. House fire, had to start working manufacturing. Ever since then, I've been doing manufacturing work because I've been stuck in that line of work. I never got to go to college early on, like everybody else my age. So after high school, I just went into manufacturing work. And ever since then, I've been jumping from manufacturing job to manufacturing job to manufacturing job. It doesn't work out. The environment's really bad. People hate me. Like, biggest main 3 reasons why things don't work out for me at manufacturing jobs. The environment is not good for women. 1, me walking up into an environment like that, it doesn't work out, okay? I like to stick up for myself and other people when I see things are wrong. And retaliation when you speak up for yourself is a real thing, especially in jobs. So I can attest to that many times over. So anyway, I left my job around February. The environment was absolutely horrible and everybody hated me there, mainly because I have OnlyFans. When people found out I had OnlyFans, by the way, I'm not active on it very much anymore. I haven't been for years. I just still have it there. And people still hate me for it. And it's freaking hilarious because what makes you hate somebody making their own choices? Go on, tell me. Making you uncomfortable because they have autonomy of their body? That's crazy because they're comfortable with their body? Is that what's making you upset? Pretty sure that's what makes people so upset. So I'm over it. That's honestly why, like, I don't have the mental energy or capacity to keep doing OnlyFans, but I'm keeping it up there because I think it's so funny how many people hate it. I'm literally a person. Like, it makes no sense, and it's mainly just modeling photos. Like, it's not even crazy PORN. And people do PORN. It's a thing. Like, get over it. You know you've watched it before. And the fact is, mine isn't even as bad as any of the other people who do it. So anyway, when it got out at that one job, everybody started to hate me. It was kind of hilarious. The population in that place was mostly men. I'm not going to say where, but I had a story time that I was going to post about a guy that I met there. And I've decided since not to post it because I don't want anybody to find out who I was talking about. So, but basically I met a British guy there and I thought it was the one. I thought he was the one. He gave me this flower. Oh God, I'm looking at it right now. Not a real flower. It wouldn't still exist if it were a real flower. But anyway, he was very sweet in the beginning, and then things went south really quickly. And he turned out to be an F-boy who just wanted to use Snapchat to send pictures back and forth after he went back to the UK. So, which I don't really understand. I'll never understand that. What type of relationship are you trying to have over Snapchat? Like, not really conducive to a real relationship unless you talk outside of Snapchat actively on occasion, at least. So anyway, it just got really weird really fast, and it broke my heart. And that wasn't why I left, though. I left once everybody started to hate me, and there was a lot of shit talking. There was a lot of people just... It was really bad, you guys! Oh, so embarrassing. I have never been so hated. So, and I know how wrong that is. It's like weird purity culture. Yet y'all are all gonna go home and get drunk and look for girls to with for a one-night stand. But yet somebody who has autonomy of their body and makes their own choices with what they do and doesn't even do anything grotesque, like, that's so wrong to people. I can't. So I ended up leaving one night because it just got so bad. And I looked for a new job. I found a new job. I weirdly, during the interview for that job, was walking out. No, so it was when I walked into the interview, there was a guy leaving that the boss had just interviewed. And I recognized him, and we like looked at each other like, And I realized it was a guy from one of my previous jobs. And he was very sweet, and he has a very cute smile, and we had never gotten any of each other's contact information. And I was just always like kind of wondering about him, you know? And so we see each other, and we're like, but then nothing comes of it because how are we going to get a hold of each other, you know? I get the job, and I start the job, and that same guy had also started the job. His name is Kyle, and he told me after this that, so we started talking like right away once we both got the job, and we were like, oh, cool. So it was like there was a mutual understanding that we liked each other right away. So we instantly clicked. We went on a date. We like started dating after I think 2 weeks because I just kind of knew, and he was really shy. And I actually asked him to be my boyfriend because I could tell that he was uncomfortable, like wondering where we were at. So I was like, you know, I'm just gonna make this official. Even if it's too early, I can break up with him if like there's a red flag or like something goes wrong, you know? But in that case, like I could tell he was really wondering if it was serious or not. I was like, I'm pretty a serious person, so I might as well just make it serious. So I did, and we have been dating ever since. Editing Raven here, I realized I didn't finish what I said there. After we started dating, he confessed to me that he stole my phone number off the sheet of paper that we each signed in on when we had our interview. So like when you first come in to take an interview at this place, you have to sign in on a piece of paper and write your name down, write down your phone number, and like what time your email was, or what time your appointment was. And like I didn't think about that at all. I did not think about taking his number off that sheet. That's crazy work, honestly. Maybe that's the only red flag my boyfriend has shown me, is that. But yeah, he told me he stole my number off that sheet, and he was planning to text me if he didn't like see me get the job in the next like month or so. So really interesting. I don't know how I would have reacted to that had it gone differently. Interesting to think about. Something then happened at that job. I don't even want to talk about it because I'm still processing it. But there was a really, really sketchy guy there, and basically he gives serial killer vibes 100%. Anybody who gives off serial killer vibes might be a little hard for me to get along with, okay? I have PTSD from angry men in the past. So if I even think that a man is angry, let alone he kind of comes off as like creepy in a way, it's gonna be like I'm gonna be walking on eggshells around him just to make sure that everything is okay and I don't piss him off and things don't get worse. So there was I don't even want to tell this story. Why am I telling this story? It's so embarrassing because of like okay, I'll just tell you and then I'll tell you my thoughts. So there was a day when it was like 96 degrees and it was really hot, right? And I was like looking around at my area, and there's several other people in my area, including Mr. Serial Killer Vibes. And there was a bunch of little fans, like little tiny little office fans that you would put on your desk, that you clip onto your desk, and it like blows air on you. And I didn't have one, but I noticed there was one area where Serial Killer Guy was, where there was like 4 fans. And I was like, I'm just gonna go over there and ask if I can grab one. So I go over there, I talk to my other coworker named Nico, not Serial Killer Vibes guy, but his name is Nico. I go up to him and I'm like, hey, is it okay if I take this fan? I'm really hot. And you have like a couple of them blowing on you right now. So it looks like this one's not even being used. And he was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And he goes around like towards Serial Killer Vibes guy and unplugs it and then comes back around, and I start to grab the fan. And then I notice Serial Killer Vibes guy is back there, like kind of behind where I grabbed the fan from, looking at me like this. And not with like straight eyes. Like he was like literally, if I could describe to you a person bent like this, with their entire head bent like, that's what he was doing, okay? Not only that, but this guy wears sunglasses inside all day long at work. So let me give you a better visual so that you can see what I dealt with. So this is what he looks like inside. You can't see his eyes at all, okay? Keep this in mind, you guys. Also, the fact that he gives off serial killer vibes directly pertains to the fact that he wears sunglasses inside like a freaking creep. So anyway, he looks at me like this. My dog is barking because she thinks someone's here because I just ran across my house. Honey boo boo! So, he's looking at me like this, and I go, why are you looking at me like that? Like, initial response was my immediate, like, why is his head cocked so much looking at me? So I was like, why are you looking at me like that? And he doesn't respond. He just goes like this. I'm like, okay. Does he not hear me or something? Like, he's less than 5 feet away from my face. Does he not hear me? So I go, I'll bring it right back, I promise. Pertaining to the fan, right? I'll bring the fan right back. Is that why you're looking at me this way? Are you upset that I'm taking the fan? Is basically what I was trying to convey. He then goes like this. Why are you yelling at me? And I go, I'm not yelling at you. I'm trying to make sure you're not like upset that I'm taking this fan. He then goes like this. These are his direct words, you guys. I think you're racist. I don't know what he's talking about at this point because about 2 weeks after that, I was under the impression that he was a white man. He looks white. His skin is lighter than mine is. Okay. Just gives off serial killer vibes, but looks like a white guy. Completely looks like a white guy. You would not think he is anything other than white. Especially because, remember, this is what he wears to work every day. So not only can you not tell if he's upset, but if he were to be something other than white, maybe Asian, reference for later, you wouldn't be able to tell because his eyes are covered up. Okay? What happened right after that is he said, I think you're racist, and I went, like, what? I was genuinely in shock. Like, did a white man just fully call me racist? Okay. And then he goes, I'm not going to engage. I got to put these on for the effect. He goes, I'm not going to engage with this. Doing this. Motioning over me and my whole body. And I'm like, So I repeat what he said. I go, I'm not gonna deal with this! And I walk away, and I sit in my chair. Mind you, Honey Boo Boo, come back! Nobody's here! They're sitting by the door. I got a new dog, by the way. That's Dana. You got to see her. Dana! Nobody's here, Dana. Come here. I'll make a whole video about her. Dana! Come see the camera, Miss Dana. Yes, you got me right in the mouth, Dana. This is Dana. Yes, I actually got her from my coworker at that job. Yes. Wow, Dana. She says, I thought that Kyle was home. I thought somebody was here. Dana. Come here, Honey Boo Boo. Come sit over here. Yeah. Thank you. So, you are so cute. Yes, I wish the camera could see you. I wish the camera could see you. Yes, you are so cute. You are so cute. She has to have a tracker on her collar. Yeah, she has a Google AirTag on her collar because she runs away so much. But now she doesn't. She stopped, like, right after we got the tracker. I think she realized, like, we're not going to give up on finding you until we find you. So there's no point in running away. And yeah, there's no point in running away, right? She also really loves me, you can tell. So she, like, doesn't want to run away anymore. No, she doesn't want to run away anymore. No, she doesn't. Will you stop licking me? I gotta finish the story. So, I walk away and I go and sit in my chair, right? Probably less than 5 seconds go by before I'm like, no, that wasn't okay. And I stand right back up and I go over to Mr. Serial Killer Vibes right next to him and sit right next to him. Because up to this point, we have been on good terms. There was one previous time where he legit scared me. We got through it and he apologized to me, right? But there was a time when I went up to grab and use one of his tools for a second, which would be okay because he wasn't using it. So, like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know. I went up to try to, like, I look at it and I'm looking at it. That's all, that's as far as I got, right? And he goes, no, you can't have that. And I'm like, I wasn't going to take it. I was going to use it for a second because I can tell that you're filling out paperwork right now and you're not using it. And he goes, okay, this is mine. I'm like, first of all, mind you, nobody's tools is anybody's at this place. You share the tools, period, with everyone, period. So he's trying to be like super greedy about this one tool because it's his favorite tool. Mind you, I wasn't going to take it. I wasn't even going to move it out of his area. I brought my thing over there so that I could quickly use his drill to just whoop really quickly into what I needed. While he wasn't using it, mind you. So it got to the point where I was like, he was like, no, you can't touch that, basically. Like he said it in such an aggressive manner. Mind you, it was like this. You can't touch that. You can't tell how this guy feels because his eyes are freaking covered all the time. You can't tell if he's serious, if he's really upset or angry at you, or if he's just talking. So at that point I was like, sorry, you know, and I walked away and he was like, are you okay? Because he could tell, like, I basically almost started crying at that point. He was like, are you okay? And I was like, no. And he's like, sorry. And then after that, we talked about it. And I was like, you legit come off as really angry sometimes. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I just don't like when people take my tools. And that was that. That was the end of that. We would still talk for every now and again. And we had to work 5 feet away from each other. So it wasn't bad until this day. So I walked up to him straight up. And instead of like standing at him because he was sitting down, I didn't want to be like, blah, 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 while standing up. So I sat down next to him and was like, Mr. Serial Killer Vibes guy. Not what I said his name. I was like, I was just trying to make sure you weren't upset that I was taking the fan. And he goes, "You're telling me that I'm upset, and I am not upset." "No, that's never what I said. I was just asking you to make sure that me taking the fan wasn't going to upset you." "Well, I'm not an angry person, and I don't appreciate you calling me that." That's literally not what I said, though. At all. And I'm just trying to get this straight with you. Mind you, people are listening at this point. It is going nowhere. After he said that he wasn't an angry person, I also said something like, "Well, I have PTSD with angry men, so when I think somebody is angry, I try to make sure and check with them." And this is when he said, "It's not my responsibility to deal with your PTSD." Did I ever say that? No, I didn't say that. So I then said, "No, that's not what I said either." By this point, my coworker Nico was annoyed as hell and didn't want to listen to this anymore. So he goes, "You guys, just stop, okay? If you need to talk more, go outside the cell. But for now, just get back to work because this isn't getting anywhere." At that point, the reason I rose my voice is because at that point, my manager heard Nico say all this to us, and my manager came out. This whole time, we were right outside my manager's office, so you'd think he would have heard it earlier, but he didn't. So he comes out, and he goes, "What's going on?" "Mr. Serial Killer Vibes guy, what do you think he said? What do you think he said?" "I don't know what she's going on about." I'm almost in tears at this point because I'm extremely triggered by this man who has literal serial killer vibes, and I'm having to try to actually have a conversation with him, and it's going nowhere. So I'm literally like shaking, like about to cry. I have severe PTSD. That's going to happen when somebody is acting shitty, literally. Because it reminds me of when people were acting shitty in the past and it led to like literal abuse. So, this behavior that he has, Mr. Serial Killer Vibe, is reminiscent of abusive behavior that I've experienced in the past that then led to worse. Is that making sense? It'll make sense to the ladies. Anyway, I tell my manager right after he said that, "Sir, he just called me racist, and now he's saying he doesn't know what I'm talking about?" And I walked back away, and I sat in my chair and tried to breathe through it, because I'm just like, not only offended, I'm uncomfortable, I'm triggered, I'm shocked that, like, trying to have a rational conversation with somebody could go so badly, and I could get called racist so quickly by a white man, mind you. So I'm just really confused, literally, and in shock. And I'm sitting there. My manager comes to me first to get my side of the story. So he gets my side of the story. I tell him everything. He basically tells me that Mr. Serial Killer Vibes guy, based on his history working for this company, he's not likely to apologize. Yeah, he's not likely to even think he did anything wrong here. So that was interesting. Then I find out from my lead in the area that he has called people racist before. He just does it, like, in a serious way though, not in a joking way, like dead serious. "You're racist." "Sir, we are at work. If you think I am racist, go to HR. Don't, like, what?" Anyway, I have a hard enough life to be made to feel like a stupid ass white person. The last thing I needed, really. Especially the fact that I love minorities, and I wish that everybody were treated the same. But did he ever know that about me? No. He's just literally assumed that I was racist over nothing. Me asking if it was okay to take a fan. So, anyway, my manager talks to me. He talks to the Serial Killer Vibes guy. He talks to Nico. He talks to everybody in the area who witnessed it. Then he thinks it's solved. We all go home for the day. weekend, because this was our Friday, I'm thinking, what just happened? I just got called racist by a white man. And it seemed like it was to just shut me down, and it worked. It literally worked, because I was just in shock at that point. So I go to my boss on the next Monday, and I'm like, hey, I just want to let you know how utterly confused I am as to why he called me racist. And my manager goes, yeah, I feel the same, actually. I'm really confused about this. We're both confused. Mind you, Serial Killer Vibes has worked there for 11 years. 11 years, okay? Yeah, men like this, they get that stable job. They get that stable life. They get everything they want. But me, struggling will be forever, I feel like, for me. So, anyway, my boss doesn't do anything. A few days go by. My boss still doesn't do anything. I try to talk to my leads. They're on my side. Like, they don't even like this guy. They never have. And he doesn't get along with anybody. He has serial killer vibes. And he wears sunglasses inside. I end up finding out from a coworker that serial killer vibes guy, get this, you guys, get this, you ready? He's half Asian. He's half Asian, yeah. So that's what made him think that he could call me racist. Yeah. Mind you, again, this is what he looks like at work. This is all I have ever seen of him. Could you tell if somebody was Asian if they covered their eyes like this? No, you couldn't. So, he goes around wearing this and calling people racist whenever there's an issue, not realizing that he just looks like a white dude. It's the dumbest thing. I'm so glad I can laugh about it now, because what happened next is I went crazy. My mental health completely declined, because every single day, 5 days a week, I had to go in and work with this guy. We didn't say a word to each other since that day. Not one fucking word. Because I knew I would try to clear it up with him and it wouldn't go well. And he probably, in his mind, is thinking, she's racist. It just blows my mind how, like, so dumb people can be. Like, if you're having that serious of a problem at work, go to HR. You don't just continue to be uncomfortable. So what I did was I wrote a whole paper, because I am so good at writing papers in college. It's insane. I literally get 100% all the time. Not all the time, every week. So I've gotten pretty good at writing papers at this point. So I wrote a whole paper about what happened and sent it to HR. You know what they did? They waited a whole month to have a meeting with me. And throughout this whole month, this happened at the beginning of July when he called me racist. The meeting we had was July 31st. You guys. By this time, every time I come into work, I am shaking. I am wanting to cry. I am feeling disgusting about myself. Feeling like, maybe I am racist. Maybe I should just accept that and leave this job. And, it literally got to the point where I was gaslighting myself, because I knew that this man would gaslight me to the end of the earth if I tried to talk to him about it. And again, it's triggering, because this is literally how my family has been to me growing up my entire life. So it's hard. It gets hard for me to deal with certain things like this. Mentally, I spiraled. I went down. Every day, having to walk past Mr. Serial Killer Vibes. Every single day. Mind you, he's like 6'5", wears all black, and wears sunglasses inside. So he looks like Michael from that series with that's what he looked like. So by the time that I have the meeting with HR, Every day at work was a nightmare for me. I kid you not, like I would be sitting there just trying not to cry, thinking about how much I hated my life and how much I hated myself and how uncomfortable I was, how much I didn't want to be there. And I remember the day of the meeting came, and it was supposed to be at 9:30 a.m. So I'm waiting. I see the time is 8:30. I'm like, great, another hour. I honestly don't know if I can make it another hour at this point. I feel so horrible. Then I get a call, and it's the HR people calling me saying, hey, the meeting is starting. Can you make it down to the office? And I'm like, the email you sent me says 9:30 and it's only 8:30, but sure, I'll come down. Another thing that made me feel like I made a mistake, when in reality, it wasn't me at all, it was them. So it just like added to it, where I was like, am I stupid? Am I going literally crazy and I don't know what time is anymore? No, the email they sent me says 9:30, but they go off like Pacific time or some stupid stuff, so they couldn't, they sent me the wrong time, not even realizing that I wouldn't come at the right time because I'm on mountain time. So they call me, I get there. Because I didn't prepare, I don't think I even would have been able to prepare because I was so mentally gone at this point. But because I was already like, I was in such a bad state right before he called me and right before I went into the office for the meeting, that once I started to talk about it, I started to cry again. Like, just utterly confused, utterly shocked. The fact is, women are minorities as well. So when other minorities treat women like shit, not realizing that they're also minorities, it's absurd. Women are minorities too. Okay? Mr. Serial Killer vibes. And mind you, that's the only reason I ever had a problem with him, was because he gives off serial killer vibes. Not because he was half Asian. I love Asian people. I shouldn't have to explain that to anybody. It's insane that I feel like I need to explain that to anybody. Anyway, first of all, second of all, and third of all, what if I was married to an Asian man? What if my parents were Asian and I was adopted? What if I had been to Japan several times and I am low-key like researching it and in love with it? What if I knew Japanese? What if I knew all of these things and yet I was treated with absolutely no respect or dignity by this man who did not know me and just assumed that I'm just racist, just flat out. Just doesn't know anything about me. Just, not only did he assume I'm a racist, he called me it to put me down, and it worked. So I am, honestly, this is where I'm at. So let me get to the point of the story. So I'm in the meeting with HR and I'm trying to explain to them like how bad I feel and how I don't feel comfortable even working at this job anymore. I have to come in and work 5 feet away from this guy every single day. I can't talk to him. We can't help each other with anything. There's this tension to be cut with a knife. You guys know what it's like if you have an issue with somebody. Do you want to work that closely with them? No. So I just can't hold back my emotions because all in all, the fact is, I knew him calling me racist was going to make me lose that job. Even though I went to HR, even though I did all these things, because he made me so uncomfortable that I wanted to leave the job myself. So it literally caused me to lose the job. So by the time I realized that, that's why I became so much worse going into work every day, because I was like, I'm not even functioning mentally right now. I can't do this for much longer. This is so unhealthy for me. So by the time I went into HR, I was telling them all of this. Not really thinking or realizing or seeing consequences. So by the end of the meeting, they told me that they would contact me in the next week on Tuesday, and they would try to come to a solution. But because I wasn't willing to have a mediated conversation with him, because I knew that wouldn't go anywhere. I knew that it would kind of just make me worse. Whatever he decided to say and try to gaslight me more, it would probably just affect my mental health more and make me worse because I was so weak at that point. So I told them that when they asked me if I wanted to do that. So then I come home from work after that day. And I'm doing so bad that every day after I get off of work, I am going to sleep right after I get off of work at 2:30 p.m. And I was just sleeping all the time because anytime I was awake, I was having really horrible thoughts about myself. So I would just sleep all the time. And I had missed a call while I was sleeping, so I woke up at like 6 or 7, and I saw that I missed a call from the HR people. And I'm like, I mean, I could try to call them back, but they're probably not going to answer. It's kind of late. But he had sent me several messages saying, like, please get in contact with me before you go into work tomorrow. If you've worked in manufacturing and or if you've ever worked temp work, you know the signs of when you're about to be laid off or fired. So for him to say I need to get in contact with him before I come into work the next day, that's a sign. So I'm like, okay, well, I need to call him back. So I call him back, and he answers because, mind you, some of these people, they're on Central or whatever Pacific time. So even though it's like 7 o'clock here, he still answered. And yeah, he tells me that my nose is really runny. Basically, from everything I said, that he doesn't think it's good for my mental health for me to even be there anymore. So they're going to end my contract. So that was about 3 weeks ago. And I've just been adjusting, trying to do better, trying to feel better, trying to see where I want to go next. Like, I don't want to do manufacturing work anymore. The environments are you don't get treated professionally. How are you going to call someone racist over them asking you if you're upset over a fan? Like, there was no dignity there when he talked to me. I was treated with no dignity. That's what you can expect if you go into manufacturing, especially as a woman. You will be treated with no dignity. And it will start to ruin your mental health. Yeah, I was going to tell you guys a whole nother story, but I got into a whole nother story, so I guess that tells you guys how bad I've been doing. I never wanted to share that story with you guys because it's so embarrassing, and I feel like I'm still gaslighting myself. And I have had a lot of hate on this channel before from incels, so it would make a lot of sense if this just got shown to them and I got a lot more hate, which is why I've stopped doing YouTube in the past. So yeah, I really want to get back into YouTube though, so please like this video even though it's sad. Whatever you guys are doing, have a good day, good night, good evening. Bye guys.